Imagine you bite into a breakfast wrap you spent 30 minutes waiting for. You feel something crunchy, but there's no bacon, only cheese and egg. Curiously, you open the wrap and discover small gnats on your eggs. You scream in horror and spit the food out of your mouth. This was a typical day at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Welcome to the Nightmare of Tropical Smoothie, a podcast on my experience while working at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. I worked at Tropical Smoothie for about 2 months. I started around November of 2021. My first red flag should have been during the interview process. I remember walking in, and the manager at the time, Ashlyn, instructed me to sit down at the table. The first question she asked me was, "Could you be able to start today?" I often hear of employers hiring you the day of, but I had never heard of someone hiring you the day of the interview. So I guess I got the job, and she told me the starting pay was $7.25. I tried to talk my way into a higher wage, but the owner, Ken, you'll hear of him a lot, was a really cheap dude. Ken was actually a very controversial dude at Tropical Smoothie. Everyone hated him. There was a rumor there that Ken slept with the old manager and gave her chlamydia. First off, I think it's illegal to sleep with your boss, and at that, she got an STD from it. He wasn't a very attractive guy either, so I still don't understand why she did it and what she got out of it. Anyways, the conditions of the store were horrible. To start off, we were infested with bugs. I'm talking about there were gnats and fruit flies everywhere. I remember one time I opened up the container with the eggs. I had been making a breakfast burrito. I don't know who would want a breakfast burrito at 6 p.m., but I'm making the burrito, and I look at the eggs, and it's literally covered in gnats. So I ask my manager, "Hey, can I throw this away? Because, there's bugs everywhere." And she walks over, picks the bugs off the eggs, and says, "You can serve it to the customer." And you know what I did? I served it to the customer.
Oh, come on, man.
On another day, I remember I came into the store, and everyone who was scheduled had called in, even the shift leader. So that's like my boss called in, basically, right? And so I'm clocking in, and that's when Melanie comes up to me. Now, Melanie was, pardon my language, but she was a bitch. No one liked her. Even to this day, people speak bad about her just because of her attitude, right? And at the time when we worked at Tropical Smoothie, she was literally 14 years old. She was not allowed to legally work. So that night, they left a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old to basically run the entire store. And we had to call Ken begging to close the store because we could not handle the orders and the delivery drivers. And he was basically like, "Just hold it down. I trust y'all." He didn't even know us. At that, the place was a mess. Cheese and fruit spread all over the floor. Barely any food prepped. And customers were complaining about a bunch of things that were basically out of our control. We ended up closing the store and we left early. And then Ken came in the next day threatening to fire us.
That's crazy.
That same week, the inspector comes in. You know, the guy who makes sure everything is up to date and the company is following guidelines? Yeah, he comes in because a customer basically reported us for rats and blending gnats in her smoothie, which was all true. When he comes in, the first thing he finds is an expired license, meaning we weren't even allowed to operate the restaurant. And it had been expired for about a year because Ken never refiled the paperwork. And that's not the only thing they found. Our food was apparently contaminated with bugs and feces. In the back of the store, underneath the sink, there was mold everywhere. Our cheese and chicken was expired. He threw out almost half of our inventory because all of it was bad. We were cited for mold, bugs, no vendor's license, no hairnets, and unsanitary conditions, yet the store was able to remain open.
Dude!
I wouldn't say working at Tropical Smoothie was the worst thing, but I would never eat there. I worked 5 to 6 days a week, and my check would barely be $200. That's when I was like, yeah, I've got to leave. This isn't for me. The only thing I can say that I liked about Tropical Smoothie were some of the staff. There weren't necessarily any rules there, and everyone was friends for the most part. And I just remember coming in, and everyone would be outside in the alley, just hanging out, I guess. Maybe we were part of the problem, because I remember we have a line of customers and not realize it because we couldn't hear or see them. I would never work at Tropical again, but I will always look back on my time there. It was really a fever dream. You hear of these stories all over social media. But you never think you'd work at a job like that. It's pretty funny to talk about, but during the time, I was like, what the hell is going on? And I still can't believe it's open and operating even to this day. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you learned a valuable lesson on places not to go to if you ever want a smoothie.